Hey guys, what's up? If you couldn't tell by the title, this video is going to be talking about big tech channels and their tendency to, uh, often when they try to enter the budget space, they get a lot of things wrong. This is a part list that exemplifies this perfectly. So, disclaimer before I continue. No, I do not dislike. No, I do not, I'm not mad at any of these people I mentioned. But mostly, this is a response to a HardwareCanucks video. I like what HardwareCanucks do. I like their channel. They do often great stuff. But I feel that I should respond to this because some of you have probably watched this video, seeing that they try to make a budget PC video. They're like, this is the cheapest build we've ever made. I'm going to link their video in the description so you can watch it yourself. I'm not telling you to dislike it or anything. Watch it for yourself. See what you think of it. Come back. See if my opinion or my reasoning is valid. If not, feel free to dislike my video. Like I said, no disrespect to them at all. I just am responding to this one video they made because I want to talk about the general point. So, what I have right here is a part list that they made. HardwareCanucks, in the video, this is the part list for their $700 budget build. A 9400F i5, an ASRock B365. Okay, fine. Motherboard. DDR4 16 gigs of 2666. I mean, that's the highest speed Intel can use anyway. Silicon Power NVMe SSD, a 1660 for $240. Actually, theirs was like $242. And I see how these are like I'm giving them every benefit of the doubt. So I've even scaled this price down to 33 on Amazon right now. I hopefully will include a screenshot. This actual power supply that they named is like $30 higher. They got a lot of advantages from deals online, but that's the point. So not even all on Amazon, but they used Amazon, and at that time apparently there was a huge sale going on because the parts were so much cheaper, and the total came out to $691, or in their video they said $709. Complete disregard for tax, whatever. I guess there's just no tax in places where people buy computers. Again, I dislike how people don't include tax, or at least mention it. I always mention tax. I'm not going to do the math, but I'm going to mention, hey, add 10% just because. Now, I'm going to name okay. One thing that was said in the video. Also, disclaimer, I can't/won't include any clips or screenshots from the video, but I have linked it below because don't forget, I'm a very small channel. They will know if a clip is used in my video because YouTube does have good recognition. And I'm not saying HardwareCanucks would do this, but I'm saying at very least YouTube might throw the book at me. And I'm not taking any risks. So like I said, watch the video. If I accidentally get something wrong, tell me. Dislike the video for all I care. But just, tell me if I get something wrong. But as far as I know, I've watched the whole video and I have everything basically right. So this is the build they made. One thing that was said in the video is that he said, this is strictly for gaming. If you want to stream, add another $200, basically, or record. And I find that to be obnoxious. I find this build to be obnoxious. Let's start with the CPU, a 9400F. The base clock is 2.9 gigahertz. Now if it says, oh, it stays at boost clock the whole time. Incorrect. Intel's boost clock is on a timer. So no matter what, you will go down to base clock at some point. And that will be a nice frame drop for you. The 9400F, no integrated graphics. Who cares about those? 6 cores, 6 threads. No hyperthreading. So you are locked to 6 cores. So he's right. There will be no streaming or recording on this. Especially since you have a 1660. Which I don't believe I don't know if it has the new streaming Turing streamer, whatever it's called, encoder, that's the word, from Nvidia, which is great. Nvidia makes great encoders. I'm not sure if it has it, but 6 gigabytes of GDDR5X, I believe it has. Fine, whatever, cool, it's great. Enjoy running out of VRAM. A Fantex P300. I don't even think I've seen this case reviewed. I don't know anything about it. I think they just picked the first case, $63. That's actually expensive for a case that doesn't even look that great. And then a 450 watt semi-modular. It's basically just a fully modular thing, but they added some cables that you need anyway. 80 plus bronze, not my favorite. semi-modular. They put $33, so I price matched it to $33. Although if you check their Amazon listing, it's $60. So whatever. And it comes out for me to $691.90 before tax, or $686.92 before shipping and tax. This build is disgusting. First of all, 6-core, 6 threads. If you don't have hyper-threading, I'm mad at you. A GTX 1660, he is adding so much money to get a 1660 that the underlying intentions of the video really start to show. See, that's the problem with big YouTubers doing budget builds, is they always have I gotta rephrase this. See, unscripted, rephrasing. There always seems to be a bias based on the fact that, and I don't blame them, they do get free stuff. And they can often say, hey, it's a 2080 Ti. Well, I got a 2080 Ti for free. In exchange, it's not like NVIDIA's asking to do this, but in exchange, it's almost subconscious. They might be like, let me try to get NVIDIA into this budget build. Just, it just happens. Trust me, I actually haven't received free I was going to try to make an example from me, but I haven't. Please send me stuff. And then Intel. A good example would be, like I said, full respect, but Linus Tech Tips. Every one of the builds is Intel. And everyone's like, oh, you're wasting so much. Don't forget, he gets them all for free. And if you spend the insane amount of money that you will get better performance. So if you have to spend no money and get the performance benefits, then yeah, I guess it makes sense. But trying this hard to put it in a budget build does make me sad, because leave budget builds to people who actually need them. The people who don't need budget builds are always the worst at making budget builds. So this is the build, $691, and he said with that budget you can't live stream or record, or at least you have to add $200. Let me show you something. This is my build for $684. If you include tax, I will admit it'll be about $750, less than. I will say maximum $750, same as theirs. If you include tax, tax is actually a real thing. Now, you'll notice some cut downs and some improvements for $50 more. Oh, what a big improvement. And everything's from Amazon. Some of these are like up to $20 to $30 cheaper on other sites, but I wanted to make sure to go Amazon. Links to all these parts below. I want to make sure to go Amazon so that it's accessible to at least most people, but you'll find these at cheaper everywhere. And like I said, you can go used if you want. I recommend used cases, used graphics cards as well. Check if they're used for mining, but honestly, who cares? So, for the same price, we get an 8-core processor with a much higher base clock, and its boost clock is dependent on cooling, not on timing. And one thing I like to... So, one of the arguments, I'm going to stop right here and address an argument, is people say, well, the Intel CPU will get you more FPS because you can overclock it easily, or it'll have a higher boost clock. Well, in this case, it doesn't have a higher boost clock. The 2700X boost clock is 4.2 gigahertz, and the other one is the 9400F is 4.1 gigahertz. I know instructions per clock do factor in there, but another thing is, yeah, overclocking, right? You can definitely overclock your Intel CPU with that stock cooling fan. No, you can't. The Intel stock cooling fan is nothing short of a disgrace. I have personal experience with it. I would be surprised if you even reach your boost clock ever with a stock cooling fan. I don't know if that was addressed. I kind of got bored halfway through the video. At least the 2700X comes with one of these. This is a cooling fan. This is what you use to cool something. Now that's a heatsink. I would show you guys the Intel stock. Well, I probably included a picture, but I would show you my Intel stock one. But it's installed on my 4790K, which, yes, does not reach its boost clock because of that stock Intel fan, which is garbo. That comes with the 2700X. That $50 is worth it just for the thing. And you can turn on Precision Boost Overdrive, which is AMD's auto overclocking, or raising of the boost clock, I should call it, because it doesn't force it to remain at a clock. It raises the boost clock based on how cool your CPU is. So you don't risk damage. Well, in the same way you'd risk damage just forcing an overclock, forcing voltage. Any overclocks will always have the slightest risk, but AMD software, I have never experienced damage, and it always warns you if you could cause damage. So AMD software is great. You could raise the boost clock, and it'll boost depending on your performance of cooling. So this 2700X will actually perform better under the same price point as that. Not to mention, this Gigabyte motherboard, the B450 chipset, is so much better than Intel's B360/B365. Here's the difference. The B450 chipset is almost the same as X470, but you lose like useless things like crossfire support. On the other hand, the B360 compared to Z370, you actually lose some like power. You lose some overclocking support in some cases. You actually lose more with that chipset than you lose on B450. I'm a user of B450. Not right now, I needed crossfire support, but I've used this motherboard with the 2700X, and I can confirm everything works perfectly. Amazing power delivery, amazing board design, 4 RAM slots, which is great for micro ATX motherboard. I can't think of anything else, but it's really good. Plenty of fan headers. It does amazing, and I could overclock / auto overclock my 2700X on it on all 8 cores. 16 gigabytes of DDR4 3000, so faster memory as Ryzen likes. You could turn on XMP. Trust me, XMP profile. I enabled it on this same motherboard. See, here's the difference between a small YouTuber / a budget builder like me compared to a big YouTuber like HardwareCanucks, well, YouTubers and Linus Tech Tips. They don't have personal, I don't want to say they at all, but it is less likely that they have personal experience actually playing, using, and not just benchmarking a budget build. I come here and I actually will play on a 2700X B450M. I'll play some games of Counter-Strike. I'll hop on PUBG on an RX 580. You'll notice the RX 580. We'll get to that in a second. And I will actually get real experience on it. I won't just run a benchmark, be like, well, that's how it performs in every case. It's not a way. It's not a way to actually, like I said. So I have the advantage of having actual experience with playing on these budget builds, and that's how I've become so good at making them. Someone comes in my chat on my live streams, and I'll make you a build off the top of my head right there, because I have a lot of experience with it. Now, so we get faster memory. You turn on XMP on this motherboard, works perfectly. We get an Intel NVMe SSD. Intel shield, I guess. No, I've used this SSD, the 660p series. Cost per gigabyte is amazing for NVMe storage. I trust the Intel brand more than I trust the whatever the other brand was. I already forgot it. And then next thing, 512 gigabytes, so room to actually record and stream with your 8 cores, unlike your 6. So you get 8 cores, 16 threads, compared to 6 cores, 6 threads. That's what? Almost 3 times the threads. Threads are those things that, allow you to do different processes, such as gaming with 4 threads and streaming with the other 12 that you have left over, etc., etc. So, I think more in this case is better, considering they're actually higher clocked as well, but whatever. Okay, RX 580. Some people criticize this card. They criticize the choice, like, oh, you're just saving money by switching the amazing 1660 for the garbage RX 580. That statement is false. So, the RX 580, from actual gaming experience, I have found to be perfectly adequate, if not amazing, for gaming, especially at a price point. This one, 179. It's like $20 less, so yeah, it's actually 140 on Newegg, I think. I don't know, but you can find it for less on other sites. But I gained like $40 putting Amazon here. But 8 gigabytes of the same VRAM. I think it might be GDDR5 and not GDDR5X. You'll have to check. But it's 2 more gigs of VRAM, which I'm a VRAM person. Games like PUBG that have a lot of graphically intensive environments that have to load in quickly will eat up that video memory quickly. So having 2 extra gigs, always a plus. 8 gigs is just kind of like my go-to amount. So you get more VRAM. RX 580 is just a solid performer from actual gameplay experience. I don't think benchmarks give it justice. Now everyone's like, oh, benchmarks are the only repeatable test. I don't care. I don't care at all. Yeah, benchmarks are great. You can go to Gamers Nexus, who, full respect, and you can watch 30 minutes of graphs about the RX 580. But they won't go into a Counter-Strike competitive game, play a full match, and get, an amazing KD. They won't go play PUBG and actually do good and get far in it, because gaming's not their thing. Gaming is my thing. I'm surprisingly decent at video games. But let's just move on to the next thing. The Fractal Design Focus G. It's 10 to 20 bucks less than that Fantex case. How do I know this is good? My friend's build, which I picked out for him and he bought and he built himself, looks very similar to this. He had a much higher budget of like $1,200, so he went with like an RTX 2070. This was before the 5700 XT came out, so I couldn't stop him. So he went with an RTX 2070 and stuff like that. But he has the Focus G, because it was 40 bucks at the time, but it's 55, and a 2700X, and the cooling performance is above adequate. So Focus G, I don't know why this didn't come up in the thinking of making that Intel monstrosity. And then finally, now this is not a modular power supply, but in my opinion, neither is that 450 watt bronze power supply that they added from Corsair, which I don't use Corsair power supplies. I don't like the manufacturer that makes the originally. They do, I believe the CXM series is Great Wall. Personally, not a fan. Nothing against Great Wall. I just don't. I've seen more failures with Corsair power supplies than I have with EVGA. I trust EVGA to all of my computers, except for one that has thermal take because I was on a really tight budget. But my Threadripper, my 2920X, is only on EVGA, and soon my what I'm gonna call the God tier system, the triple liquid cooled Vega 64 system. Well, 2 Vega 64s or whatever, we'll have a 1300 watt EVGA power supply because that's the only company I have full trust in, and I believe the other one's, I don't know, I almost said Seagate, but you know what I mean. Some people know what I mean. 500 watts, so an extra 50 watts, 80 plus gold, get that power bill down a little bit, 54 bucks on Amazon, and that's actually the price right now. Now, so another thing is 450 watts is perfectly adequate for that Intel system that he made, that monstrosity as I call it. Where's the upgradability? But here's the funny part. Just like the power supply, you can't really upgrade the graphics card in that system or else the power supply is inadequate. This one you can. But here's the great thing. Unlike Intel, AMD offers an amazing upgrade path. You could take this 2700X and take it out. You're like, oh, I'm bored of it. Put in a 37 or 3600X. 3600X, you'll save some money and actually get better game performance, less streaming performance, admittedly. But my friend has a 3600. I overclocked it for him. 720p, 60 FPS, flawlessly. He plays Fortnite all the time. Very dislikable. And you're fine. He uses the same motherboard as well. And the power supply will be fine. You have an upgrade path. Intel, you have to use Z390, I think, for the 9 series, or maybe Z370, I don't know. But Z390, I think, for their 9th series processors, the i5 even. The motherboard is more expensive, first of all, to get an actual good one. And what can you slot in? A 9900K? Cool, enjoy that $500 upgrade. There's no upgrade path. There's so many options with Ryzen. I don't see the same options with Intel, especially since any new processor that comes out is not going to be using the same socket, that's for sure. So $684, I believe that's actually less than his, and you can stream and game at higher FPS probably. Because trust me, that 9400F on stock cooling is not even going to be able to use that 1660. Any benefit the 1660 poses over the RX 580 is completely destroyed by a stock cooled 9400F. So that's kind of the point of this video, is I do want to kind of criticize without, going, I don't want to disrespect them. They do make good content. They make way better content than I'll ever make. But I do want to criticize the fact that when they try to enter what I would consider our field, the people watching this video and me, this is our thing. We do budget builds. I actually focus more on new budget builds. Used parts isn't really my department. So when I mess with used parts, I always get people teaching me lessons, but I think I have a better grasp on it than some of these big YouTubers because they do have ties, and I'm not going to criticize them for having secret deals and ties to companies. That's just called being a YouTuber and having a brand. If Ryzen came up to me or even Intel came up and said, hey, we'll give you some free CPUs and some money, you just have to sneakily put a 9400F in your budget build, I'll be like, yeah, sure. 9400F, best CPU. But right now, I find Ryzen to be better because I have indifference because I have no ties to any company because no company will sponsor my content and YouTube won't monetize it. So, yay. Originally, this build I actually had a 1 terabyte hard drive, which you can add in for like 20 bucks just to record. Recording is great. This is also great for editing. 8 cores, 16 threads, high speed, amazing for Premiere Pro editing. Just saying. 6 cores, 6 threads. Yeah, good luck. Have fun with that. Your 2.9 gigahertz. Disgusting. So I just want to say, these big YouTubers, I don't have a problem entirely with them trying to enter the budget build space, because a lot of people, they have a lot of reach, and they should really focus on what their viewers want. And I find that a lot of their viewers do look at the budget builds, because that's all they do is complain in the comment section. But I think they, like they do with their other videos, should actually do some real research and maybe not. I'm not saying break their ties with the company, but break their underlying biases against things. Like, if I use Ryzen, I'm gonna probably get some comments back. You're such a Ryzen fan. I'm like, yes, I'm a fan. You wanna know why I'm a fan? Because price to performance matters in a budget build. So that's why I'm a fan of AMD, because I focus on price to performance. I game on a 7700K. I have no bias against Intel right now. The only thing I have against it is that they cost too much. It's not like I'm saying, oh, Intel's just bad as a company. If Intel comes, if their 10th gen process, I might actually get their X series processors when they come out, because they are reasonably priced, and I do want to experience Intel's high-end desktop platform. I might. Intel, they make great processors, and I don't deny the fact that, yeah, the 9900K is technically the top CPU performance-wise, not including price. Though, honestly, if you compare it to an overclocked 3800X and you mitigate factors such as game companies developing their games to work slightly, now it's not like but slightly better on the Intel platform to kind of mitigate and get rid of some cost of making games more, perform less. They want their games to perform better for most people, and most people had Intel at the time. So, but that's just a factor that I found as a person who actually plays video games. But that's the point. So I hope you guys kind of learned something. I know this was probably long. Yeah, 22 minutes is how long I've been recording. This was kind of long. I know this was kind of boring, but I hope you learned something. And if you want to buy this build or some of the parts from it, I have linked all the Amazon affiliate links below. I make money off those links, full honesty. And I'm not talking like, oh, crazy amount of money. It's pennies. I think I can share that much. There is a non-disclosure thing with Amazon that it's not like an agreement, like legally binding, but it's more like, you get kicked out of the program. That would suck because it took you a year to get in it. Basically, if you buy something from one of the links I will make a tiny commission. That's all I'm going to say. So, full honesty. That's all these other YouTubers do. That's why they tend to tend towards Amazon, because they do also make commissions. If you noticed when Linus broke down his revenue chart, I'm still talking revenue chart. I don't know why I'm still talking. Like 30% of it was from Amazon affiliates, because it's just him making money off you guys buying stuff. And also ads. I don't actually get ads. Thanks, YouTube. Yeah, their ad system. I've been under approval for 300 months, or 3 months, not 300. So I don't think I'm ever gonna get monetization, which is fine. We'll just hope for sponsors in the future. Ryzen, please send me free processors. That's the point. Hope you guys learned something. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, no criticism. I love all these channels. Just saying, stay out or do your research. That's kind of a thing. Stay out or do your research, or come in, but like, be like, yo, I'm just trying here. And then, how do you put a 9400F in a system ever? Oh man, i5 in 2019. I actually have a headache from thinking about it. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.